It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living Tahoe-Truckee Sunday morning live streaming service. On this nice snowy day, I am Reverend Pam Brandman, the Senior Minister here at the Center. It's my pleasure to welcome you here today. Our Center's purpose is love, and our vision is embracing all while awakening to the One. We know that there are many paths to God, and wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. We know that all of these paths end in oneness and in love. So we're grateful that each of you is here today. We begin our service with a receptivity statement that you're going to see on the screen, and if you would keep yourself muted and read along with me. I am here by divine appointment. Something I am about to hear applies to my life. I am open, receptive, and willing to explore the possibilities. So for our music this morning, we're going to have a rather eclectic potpourri of musical artists. And the first one is from the ministers' choir that we had from the ministers' gathering back in September. And Reverend Doug LeBeau is the one that put all of this together. It's a song he wrote called I Remember Who I Am, plus several other ministers. And he had to record each one of these ministers individually and then sync them all together in perfect harmony. So, enjoy.
1, 2, 3.
I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. We are life. We are light. We are love. We are joy. We are peace, we are wisdom, and beautiful harmony. We are pure spirit. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. His pure spirit. We are life. We are light. We are love. We are joy, we are peace, we are wisdom, and beautiful harmony. We are pure spirit. I remember who I am. I remember who you are and who we are. Pure spirit, and who we are. His pure spirit, and who we are. His pure spirit.
Yes, great morning. So our practitioner this morning is Nancy O'Neill. She is the head of our practitioner corps, and the practitioners this year are putting together a wonderful meditation for the December 31st World Healing Peace meditation at 4 a.m. on December 31st. So get up bright and early. That's noon Greenwich time. So there will be people around, millions of people around the world that will be participating in this. So we're really excited about what the practitioners are putting together for us. So Nancy has our invocation and reading this morning.
Thank you, Pam. So let's just all close our eyes for a moment and take some deep breaths just to get grounded, just to get centered here where you are, in your home, in front of your computer, but within. And so we just take those words that we just heard. I remember who I am. I remember who we are, pure spirit. And we breathe into that, pure spirit. And so in knowing this day that all unfolds perfectly in that thought of pure spirit, knowing what pure spirit really is, that it's love and joy and peace and light and life. And so in knowing the goodness of all of this as we join together this morning in our service to remember who we are. And so in knowing that, in great gratitude always for this time together, for this time to move inward, to just allow that to just allow the being to meld with the doing. And at this moment, we're in the being. And so in knowing that and knowing who we are, I just allow it to be so. Let go, let God, as we say together, and so it is. So this morning, the reading is about the contemplative process, because the talk is about preparing the way. And it's from a book called The Mystic Heart by Wayne Teasdale. I've never read this book, but I see that it, thank you, that it is forwarded by the Dalai Lama. So it's got to be a good one. So the reading is called The Contemplative Process. The natural world and compassionate social service are both means of activating the contemplative in us. Although the Western faiths are essentially extroverted, extroversion is not opposed to contemplation. For contemplation understands the inner and outer from a deep awareness within. When, as mystics, we turn within, we discover this contemplative way in which we seek God as an objective reality. Contemplation is a way that grasps the common ground between the inner and outer in the depth of mystical consciousness. It is a process of overwhelmingly honest self-knowledge in the light of the divine's present to us, especially through the various gradations of union. Such metaphors as the path, the road, the mountain, the stairway, and the ladder all express this progress. They point to a process that takes place in an external world. But contemplation equally involves, and more intensely, the inner life. Although the West has been regarded as extroverted, its contemplative tradition is also highly oriented to interiority. In this interiority, however, it holds to an objective reference point, namely God, who is also, as Augustine says, more intimate to us than we are to ourselves, or as the Quran observes, nearer to us than our jugular vein. In contemplation, we turn within. Our introversion keeps the objective of a divine reality constant. We also transcend extroversion when we find God in the depths of our own subjectivity in the heart. We encounter the divine reality that is both the transcendent source and the immanent ground of all beings in the abyss of subjectivity in the depths of the heart. Introversion and extroversion come together, which is really a term for deep consciousness. If we were to be thrown into the utter radiance of God's glory without sufficient spiritual preparation, we could not endure it. It would be like coming out of a dark house and being blinded by the light of the noonday sun. We have to adjust our eyes slowly in order to behold the light. That is why so much of the contemplative process is preparatory. We must prepare ourselves to be receptive and sensitive to the divine presence by slowly awakening our spiritual senses. These are our inner means of receiving God's communications to us through the grace of his presence and the numerous subtle forms he utilizes to give himself to us in love. So this morning, we have another song by Melissa and Z called Gonna Let Spirit Love Me Now. We love those two.
Oh, I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of this love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of this love. You now. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of this love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of this love. Spirit loves me. Spirit loves me. I know that. I know that. Spirit loves me. Spirit loves me. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yes, gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of this love. Yeah. When I'm down, I turn to you. When I'm down, you pull me through. Yeah, I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of this love.
All alone, feeling broken, I don't know where to go. Got a feeling if I'm willing, Spirit's opening the door. So I'm asking, passing time while I'm crashing in the last sad bath of confusion, and it's slow. A little knowing that won't let go. Can't ignore it, and you know I won't, cause it's growing in the open. No more hoping now. Spirit holds my soul and says you gotta let me love you now, for you are worthy of this love. So why not let me love you now, for you are worthy of this love.
Yeah, I surrender. Every little thing. I surrender. Hear me sing. Yeah, I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of His love. I'm gonna let Spirit love me now. I am worthy of His love. I am worthy of His love. I am worthy of His love. I am worthy of this love.
All right. Yeah, I thought we needed some with this cold outside. I thought we needed some really warm, energetic music this morning. So that's what we've got. Well, as I was this week, our topic, we're continuing our theme for December, which is celebrating divine truth. And when I was putting together my talk this week, it's been a really busy week. There's all of the things going on with the holiday season, all the special events that we've got on, and Reverend Rick and I spent a good amount of time on that Hefferland grant application for our AV system upgrade. And so we got it done. We're really excited. Our whole team was working with us and putting that together. So we've got the equipment all identified and all the reasons why we think it will be a great thing for our center and how we could advance the science of mind. And but it took time. But then when I came to we used the CSL theme, so they give us a kind of a general outline. I have to add a lot to it, but this time they had taken about 3 sermons and crammed it all together into one kind of thing, and it was like a camel with 5 humps, you know. There were just too many good ideas that were molded together, and it didn't really, for me, talk about preparing the way. You know, preparing the way for the Christ consciousness. And so I just kind of set it aside, and I went back to, what does it mean to me to prepare the way for the Christ consciousness? And how do we prepare our heart for the winter season, with the winter solstice that's coming up? And in the reading you heard, using the meditation and contemplation to align our inner and outer consciousness. You know, it's the Western is the outer part, the Eastern religions that we talk about in Science of Mind, that's more interior experience. How do we put that together? And then finally we'll be talking a little bit about the power of group prayer and intention. So what does preparing the way for the Christ consciousness experience mean to me? You know, the metaphysical meaning of Christmas is the Christ consciousness is that feeling of being one with all that is, that Jesus represented the great example of what could happen for us if we allowed that part of us that is divine to be expressed in a full way. And some of these, you know, I was thinking about it, some of the quotes from some of my favorite authors like Teasdale also just jumped out at me. And so we're doing this. So this is my version. And each one of you has your own path to the divine truth, not anyone else's. And that's part of the goal, is for you to discover what your path is. You know, with the infinite, we're each a finite part of that infinite, and so we each have a unique piece that's unique. But we're all part of the one, right? Now, another thing about this path, it takes practice, right? As we live our lives, we are always seeking to grow our consciousness, our whole lives, deepening our understanding and experience with our finite minds of the infinite one life that we call God, or Spirit, Buddha, Atman, or the Omnipresence, right? And it's about being and then doing and having. But we begin by aligning our consciousness with the divine truth and sustaining that essential relationship of who we are. Pure spirit, as the choir sang this morning. So now in the reading, it talked about the interior and the exterior paths. And Wayne Teasdale in this book, The Mystic Heart, it's a great book that integrates the mystical teachings of both Western and Eastern religions in quite a bit of detail. And the exterior experiences from the Western side, it's about the outwardly manifesting, to experience God. You know, it also has a little bit of an element of dualism, with God being out there, you know, and separate from us in a lot of the phraseology, you know, speaking to the Father and those kinds of things. So that's one part of it. The interior part that we also bring in Science of Mind talks about that Eastern religion, going into that nothingness. You know, when you reach nirvana, that enlightenment, it goes into that feeling of nothingness, that there's no separation, there's a loss of sense of self in the oneness, right? And Teasdale talks about contemplation is a way that grasps the common ground between the inner and outer in the depth of mystical consciousness. It is a process of overwhelmingly honest self-knowledge in the light of the divine's present to us. So contemplation and mediation creates for me that balance, that inner and the outer. And that's one of the wonderful, to me, parts of Science of Mind. It takes that exterior experience, you know, from the Christian tradition and the interior experience and weaves them together so we can kind of walk that line with one foot in each world. We live from the inside out and becoming clearer on what is already true. We're not creating anything as much as revealing what is already true, the divine truth. Ernest Holmes in The Creative Mind, he says, wake up! Your word is all-powerful. Your consciousness is one with omnipotence. Your thought is infinite. Your destiny is eternal, and your home is everlasting heaven. Realize the truth. I am living in a perfect universe, It was always perfect, and it always will be perfect. You know, it doesn't always look that way, but that's the truth underneath, and that's what we're seeking to reveal. Now, when we talk about the divine truth and that perfect universe, it's not just a great idea that we aspire to. This is the full power and the omnipresence of spirit everywhere in the universe. You know, it is the divine truth of me, of you, of all people, and of all creation on the earth and throughout the universe to infinity and beyond. Just try to grok that. You know, let your finite mind expand to understand the infinite, right? I mean, as far as you can stretch, that's just a small portion of the infinite. And when we try to think of God, especially in the Western world, we typically create God in the image of humankind, rather than thinking of humans as being in the image of the one infinite and perfect divine life. You know, it's so awesome when we move to stretch our capacity to comprehend the infinite. And in Exodus 3, in the story of Moses, and the angel of the Lord appearing to Moses in the flames of a fire burning in a bush that was not consumed. And Moses started to walk over to that bush to see this strange sight, and God called to Moses from the burning bush. He said, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob." At this, Moses hid his face with his hands because he was afraid to look at God. It was too overwhelming to look at God. And for us as finite human beings, we have the same challenge when we try to conceive of God, the infinite. So this is why Teasdale says, if we were to be thrown into the utter radiance of God's glory without sufficient preparation, we could not endure it. It would be like coming out of a dark house and being blinded by the light of the noonday sun. We have to adjust our eyes slowly in order to behold the light. This is why so much of the contemplative process is preparatory. This is why monks and nuns and mystics can spend so much time in contemplation, in daily prayer and meditation, and continue to develop a deeper experience of God, of the infinite, every day. Every day. You know, awakening is a gradual process as we stretch and develop our spiritual muscles and capability to receive God's grace and understanding. You know, the birth of Jesus that we'll be celebrating later this month represents the birth of the Christ consciousness in us, as we come to realize that it is the I am that is expressing itself in us, through us, and as us. Our whole existence is inseparable part of God. Awakening allows us to see this divine truth. Abhijit Naskar, in his book Monk Meets World, he says, enlightenment means in light in mind. It's the manifestation of the light that's already within you. Already within you. Think of that. The light already within you. This is the divine truth. Jefferson Seeley is a transformational speaker, consultant, and inclusions strategist. He works with organizations to bring in mindfulness practices and to create generational and cultural diversity in those organizations. He wrote an excellent article that's in the December 2020 Science of Mind magazine called Centered in Knowing. His journey to awakening, to experiencing the Christ consciousness, and knowing the divine truth reminds me of my own path in some ways. He described how he initially accepted other people's views of the world as his own. Their answers could only take him so far, he discovered, however, towards understanding divine truth. There was a limit. Whatever their limit of how far they had gone, he felt he wanted to go further, rather than accept their limitations. He realized that only by questioning and meditating on these perceived truths, the limited, quote, peephole we unconsciously use to view the world, could our reality and our conscious awareness expand. You know, initially challenging his foundational beliefs created fear and vulnerability. But this is the only way that he could go beyond the finite limits of understanding that his teachers, even the most respected masters, experienced, and he wanted to experience the essence of life that was empowering his heart to beat. That is who he is with the capital S. In Corinthians 13:12, Paul described the limited vision of our finite minds by saying, "For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know even as also I am known." So similarly, Jefferson Seeley is telling us that each of us must find our own relationship with the divine self. Our greatest understanding cannot be limited to our intellectual understanding of the infinite. We must let go, open our hearts, and allow Spirit to love us, to empower our personal experience of the Christ consciousness and oneness with all that is. You see, this is a great picture of the wisdom seeker that is going on a long journey to the mountaintop, but the way is lit by the lights all along the way, the clues and the direction. And in order to follow this path, however, we have to prepare the way with prayer and meditation. So here's some key quotes from that Centered in Knowing article. On the search for a greater understanding of this powerful concept, divine truth, I was challenged to walk through various worlds within myself, not outside myself, but within myself. There is a continual process required from us to maintain this state of continuous celebration, to pray without ceasing, to live in a sacred state of being. Another great sage, Dr. Seuss, gave his readers some sage advice about following our own path in his book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. He said, "You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what to do, and you are the one who will decide where to go." You know, you can follow someone else, or you could move away a little bit and take a step on your own path and decide maybe your ego will decide where to go. Or you can go within and listen to your heart, to Spirit's guidance, and follow that path which is the highest and best for you and for everyone you touch with your life. So this is why it's important for us to take the time to prepare the way, to loosen up that hold of the ego and the connection to the outer world, and allow ourselves to be at that inner level and manifest from there into the outer world as Spirit is manifesting. You see, it's all about coming to that experience of the Christ consciousness, of the cosmic consciousness, oneness. Many different names for that state of being and awareness. And so we contemplate oneness, wholeness, that we are an integral part of the universe, the one, and surrender to the one. Surrender is very challenging for many people. For me, this feels like being part of a large puzzle where all the pieces just fit together perfectly with no gaps. I'm just right next to me, front, side, up, down. There is no sense of separation. I am an integral part of that one life that moves as one, that breathes through me and as me. We move as one. At one level of awareness, the exterior level, there seems to be an outline of who I am relative to everyone else. But at an interior level, there's no edge, no limit to who I am. This is the ultimate experience of deep connection and belonging, for being accepted just as I am. This is what so many people seek in life. That is what's missing. That's why that's why when we're in this Zoom virtual reality, we really want to hug these people in front of us. So we're getting better at doing these virtual hugs, but you know, when you have a grandson that's halfway across the country, you want to go hug them for real and see that smile for real. It's that deep connection and belonging for us and for the one we love. It's also about being accepted just as we are, for who we are. Brene Brown talks about this as an important theme in her book, Braving the Wilderness, about connection and vulnerability that it requires. Lynn McTaggart, who's big on the power of intention, she has a book called The Power of Eight. She says, deep connection and belonging are the qualities perhaps most essential to human nature. The most essential to human nature. It's what makes us different from some of the other animal species that are on this planet. Well, maybe not as different as we once thought we were. Now, the last topic that I would like to talk about today is collective prayer or group prayer. And this is part of preparing the way as well. In Matthew 18, Jesus says, "Again, I tell you, if two or of you on earth agree about anything you ask for, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. For where two or three come together in my name, there I am with them." Right? And so that is the power of that collective prayer. You know, in Science of Mind, we teach that when we speak our word in an affirmative prayer, it is done unto us as we believe. And we have practitioners that we work with to have them speak their word for healing of physical conditions or relationships or prosperity, whatever is the issue. But when two or more people are gathered together and agree upon their intention, this uplevels that whole consciousness created jointly by the people involved, and it brings spirit right into the midst of that intention. Meditation and listening to divine guidance is an important part of all world religions and has been ever since their beginning, even back to the days of shamanism. Ernest Holmes tells us that every person's heart is an inlet to the divine, right? To understand the divine, we only have to look within, for that's where the divine dwells. Not the only place, but that is where divine dwells. And when a group of people get together to meditate, to listen to the voice of spirit within them and set forth a collective intention, this is a powerful force for spiritual transformation and healing of the people participating and of the world. You know, it's mirrored back to the group and uplevels and heals the group as well as the people that they're treating for or praying for. Now, science and spirituality are coming together in agreement over the efficacy of group prayer and meditation. The scientists are now measuring demonstrated physical world effects of setting our intention in prayer. It's measurable. You know, I could spend lots of time talking about this subject, but we'll have to save that for another day. But to suffice it to say that people who have been trained to speak their word with authority and as part of a group are more powerful than those who speak without such training. So taking the time to repair the way, align with divine truth, and then speaking our word together with others is the more powerful approach. Ernest Holmes saw the potential of spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer as a powerful energy source. He said in the Science of Mind textbook, "Since the explosion of the first atom bomb, we have read about the possibility of a physical chain reaction that might destroy civilization as we understand it. There is another kind of energy that is even more important. This is the energy of faith, of affirmative prayer and spiritual meditation. There is no reason to doubt that in the field of spiritual consciousness, a chain reaction could be created which would bless the world." The Maharishi was very interested in this, in the interaction of science and spirituality. And there have been more than 50 scientific research studies conducted by the Maharishi's group beginning in 1975 that have documented that when groups of people meditate, it increases the coherence within the group and their community. That means everyone's thinking of like mind. And if 1% or more of the community practices transcendental meditation in their studies, they have measured reduced crime rates in those cities and other effects. It's measurable. And this can also extend beyond the community and national borders. A quote from their one of their studies. Research shows that the influence of coherence created by the Maharishi effect can be measured on both national and international levels. Increased coherence within the nation expresses itself in improved national harmony and well-being. We could use some of that right now, right? In addition, this internal coherence and harmony generates an influence that extends beyond the nation's borders, expressing itself in improved international relations and reduced international conflicts. So this increased coherence is one reason that small prayer circles are so effective. Lynn McTaggart wrote about those circles in her book, Power of 8. It's a very powerful number, 8 or 12, 12 apostles. It's that small group that's caring for each other, praying for each other. Many Christian churches have grown fabulously large by creating small circles within their congregation so members can pray and care for each other. It's that intimate, caring connection within that bigger group that's so important. Our center's practitioner corps here at CSL Tahoe-Truckee treats every day for the prayer requests we receive from our congregation. We know that prayer works. We know that it works. There's an organization called HeartMile that was founded in 1991 to research and teach scientifically based methods of increasing coherence between our heads and our hearts. Because we have brain cells sort of in our heart. And so when we align them, and the heart is even more powerful as far as its effect going out into the world by a factor of about 5,000. A group of CSL ministers, practitioners, and members is part of the Heart Math Global Coherence Project to increase coherence and harmony throughout the world. So they take on projects of what they're focusing on to meditate and heal several times during the month. Now, December 31st is the World Healing Day Peace Meditation that I mentioned earlier. It first started in 1986 by John Randolph Price and his wife Jan Price, when millions of people joined together at noon Greenwich time, December 31st, 4 a.m. our time, and their organization identified as afterwards a significant reduction in major world conflicts as a result. They were able to move towards peace in Ireland, the long-standing conflicts that they'd had there, in South Africa at that time as well. There's a noticeable shift in bringing an end to those long-standing conflicts. And you can choose to join us at our center at 4 a.m. on December 31st to join in that annual event. And the practitioners are putting together a wonderful program that I think you will really, it'll be worth getting up at 4 in the morning. We loved it last year. And so we can't have breakfast together, but it's still a good time. Now, one of the things, I wrote about this in my inspirational message and in the newsletter this week. And there's something potentially wonderful unfolding around the world this year. That's the promise of the Christmas star that is going to appear on December 21st, the equinox, for the first time in 800 years, right? So you'll be able to see it just over the southwest horizon, just after sunset, when Jupiter and Saturn come into coherence on December 21st. Although it might be snowing here and there is more moonlight that night, so you need to see it real quick if we're going to be able to see it. It might be easier to watch the two planets a few days earlier, December 15th through the 18th, as those two planets are getting closer and closer together every day. So just look at the western horizon for about 45 minutes after sunset, and you will see Saturn and Jupiter coming closer and closer coherence. But that is the Christmas star. There is something that we're being led out of this pandemic that has put so many people in the grip of fear and anxiety. But we have a choice. As individuals and as a group, we have a choice to recognize that there is only one life that is God, that we are part of that life, and that we have access through prayer and meditation to prepare the way for the birth of the Christ consciousness in our own minds and hearts. When we listen to the voice of Spirit within, when we open our hearts to let Spirit love us, as Melissa and Z sang in their song, then we add our consciousness to the collective consciousness of love and wholeness. Then we will be open to that sense of irrepressible joy that comes from Spirit. Not from us, it's from Spirit. It's there whether we recognize it or not. And we will know the divine truth that God is the only power and presence in our lives, the guiding force that is conspiring for our good, that is holding us, loving us through difficult times, and rising us up to move forward in good times as well. You know, just like the bears are getting ready to hibernate for the winter, we can take this time of the approaching winter solstice, of the time created by the pandemic, to go within and listen to Spirit, rather than to continuing to live our external lives foolishly or unchanged. What is it that we each have to learn from this time of going within? As we align our hearts and minds with Spirit, as we trust in God completely, we can let go and let God and observe how life unfolds in accordance with the highest and best for all people and all things, for the planet and all its inhabitants. We will have prepared the way for the light and its warmth to gradually return after the winter solstice, and some vaccinations too. I declare that love, wholeness, peace, and joy are now manifesting for each person who is hearing my voice and throughout the world. So let's take this into prayer. As we go within, we remember to be still and know that I am God. There is the one God, the one life that is the truth of each one of us. And as we prepare the way for the Christ consciousness to manifest in our hearts and souls, we open up our heart to listen to Spirit, to embrace Spirit, to co-create with Spirit. And so we contemplate oneness, that we are an integral part of the one, that there is no separation. It fits perfectly around us on all sides, above and below and within us. We are connected with our fellow human beings. We move as one, we breathe as one. There is perfect love, wholeness, and peace and harmony between us and as us. For we are a force for love, a voice of love, and of caring, and of deep peace in the world. This is the Christ consciousness, the cosmic consciousness. This is the consciousness of love. That is who God is. It is who we are. We allow that God truth, the divine truth, the healing of body, mind, and spirit to unfold for us. We release anything that would obscure that truth of the radiance of who we are. And as we let go, and as all those channels are cleared and flowing easily, there is also this sense of deep, abiding peace deep within our hearts that is unshakable. We know that we are grounded in Spirit, and we are lifted to the heavens by Spirit, and our hearts are soothed and calmed by Spirit. We know that divine right action unfolds. It is supporting and prospering all, restoring health and wholeness throughout our nation and the world, in every family, in the nation as it comes into new leadership. There is divine guidance for the government leaders everywhere, the outgoing and the incoming, and according to the highest and best for all people and all things. Each person in their family, in their personal life, is guided to know what is the highest and best for them, for their family, and for the world. How we all come together in that great synergy of life. I am so grateful for this healing, for this knowingness, for this day with the beautiful snow, for the going within that is represented by the coming winter solstice and the promise of coming back out once we have prepared the way, ready for the spring. But it's okay for the moment to let go and go within, to connect with Spirit, to allow ourselves to be loved and refreshed, replenished, our hearts soothed, time for rest, time for peace, time for wholeness to fill our being, our body, mind, and soul. And so all is well. I am so grateful for this experience, for this knowing of the divine truth. And so I release these words with complete trust and gratitude. It fills my heart full to overflowing. All is well, right here and right now. And together we anchor this prayer by saying together, and so it is. So our next song today is a special treat from the Truckee Tahoe Community Choir. It's called Here We Come A-Caroling. We needed to get some Christmas time in here. And since the choir has not been able to meet in person this year to practice or to perform, they created this beautiful video for our communities and holiday enjoyment for the whole community. And it takes a lot of work to sync all of these voices, to record the voices, to practice, to sound as if you've practiced. I mean, it all comes together. And if you look closely, you'll see Reverend Rick's wife, Marie, is one of the singers. And Reverend Rick says also that he has a cameo in one of the group pictures. I haven't found it yet, but I think it's there. So I love that recording. It's just a wonderful, all the effort that's gone into that, and it's just a perfect, joyful song for this season. So, and that brings us into our prosperity time. And we have our prosperity affirmation coming up on the screen. If you would read along with me while you're muted. I gratefully and joyfully share my offering which flows from God, my infinite source. My gift blesses this center and all who are guided, healed, and empowered by its activities. All I share with life returns to me, blessed and multiplied. At CSL Tahoe-Truckee, we know that God is our infinite source. There's one avenue for God to continue to support us through your generous contributions. We are honored to be here and to continue spreading the positive and healing messages during this challenging time and in the future, now that we see a light at the end of the tunnel. Your gifts make a great difference, so we're grateful for your contributions. Now we're going to do our offertory a little bit differently today. Rather than singing along with Karen Drucker, we're going to have a song called Thank You. It's written and performed by Reverend Karen Mitchell. As 2020 draws to a close, we want to express how thankful we are for your financial support that everyone has been giving to our spiritual community, including the end of the year campaign contributions that are starting to come in. So we are blessed and prospered by your gifts. Thank you. And you can sing along, but it's a little different tone, this one. So in this moment, we say thank you, God, Spirit, for everything, for all of the love that we have within our hearts, that is that divine love, for all the prosperity, for the joy, for the peace, for the community that we share here. We are so grateful that we can co-create this spiritual community that gives us a place of connection, of love, of spiritual transformation, of joy, of peace, of sharing good times and challenging times, but most of all, experiencing the love of Spirit. Thank you for everything. And so it is. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. It's been great to have you all here with us today on this special time. And if you need to add your name in the chat or update something, let us know. I think there's a little bit of chat going on, so a lot of times some churches that is just going full the whole time. So you're free to do that if you like, and chat with your friends. But now we're going to be moving into our announcements by Reverend Rick.
Thank you, Reverend Pam. I wanted to also add my thanks to all of you for your love, your support. We couldn't do it without you. Okay, you know that we record our services each week and invite you to check those out later on in the week or share them with family and friends. They're always available, and the links can be found on our Constant Contact, on our Facebook page, or on our website. Next week, Reverend Pam will be back to continue celebrating the divine truth with the sermon, Cultivating Light. Todd Holloway is coming back, and I just got to clap for that. He's one of my favorite musicians, and I look forward to this event. Shirley Clark will be our practitioner. This, as Reverend Pam mentioned, it is our time for our year-end complaint campaign, and so I'd love to introduce Sue Pipel to unmute and share with us her message. Sue?
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank all of you for really hanging in there this year with the Center for Spiritual Living, and especially this group that's here today online. You have all done such a great job of working hard for the center and being here and putting together what has, it's been a process putting together these services and solving all these Zoom problems. And I think today's service just shows the wonderful job that you've all done, how beautifully it all came together today, and how a service, how you're able to use Zoom to make something that is moving and inspirational. So thank you to everybody involved in it. But I also want to say that as we're getting to the end of the year and we're looking at our finances, we are a little bit short on the money for our budget that we were expecting to come in, and it is because of the coronavirus that we're basically down the amount of money that we normally get, sort of from the guests and people who just attend the services and drop $10 here and $20 there into the basket. So we are doing a campaign to try to make up that deficit, and it's not very much, but anything that you feel comfortable with giving would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And I just want to make the point that for a lot of us, I think that, we've now gotten used to our Zooms and we're never at the center building anymore. And we forget that there's overhead going on there. There's there's our mortgage and the lights and all the things that it takes to run a church and to keep that building operating. And it's easy to kind of forget about that because we're never going to the building anymore. But it does still exist. And I think that even though it's kind of out of sight, out of mind right now, we want to be sure that that building is there for us when the pandemic ends. And it's, it's not going to be long now, but let's not forget about it. So anyway, thank you very much to all of you, because I know that everybody that's on this church service right now has been supporting all along. But we appreciate it. But if you are able to step up just a little bit and make a little end of the year donation, if you can afford to, it would mean so much to us. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue.
You're welcome.
Another activity taking place at the end of the year, as you know, is our Adopt a Family activity. And thank you so much, Shirley Nelson, for stepping up to be our lead for that. Congratulations. I know you have some things you'd like to share here now too. Can you unmute and do that?
Yes, Rick. We have adopted through Tahoe Family Solutions, a local family here in North Lake Tahoe who needed a little help with Christmas gifts this year. We have a mother and we have a child, 2 children, one girl who is 10 and a little boy who's 7, and their grandpa. So there's 4 of them. And we were asking if anybody could chip in either a little bit of money for the Christmas gifts, or they'd also would really appreciate a gift certificate for Rayleigh's, a money gift certificate. We have taken care of, there's been some people stepped up already, and we've taken care of Grandpa, and we've taken care of Mom, and we've taken care of shoes for everybody, but we need a sweatshirt and a sweatpants for the little girl who's 10, and I guess she's like a big little girl because she wants extra large sweatshirt and sweatpants, and preferably a blue sweatshirt. And for the boy, he needs a sweatshirt and sweatpants as well in size medium. He's 7. So everything else is taken care of for Grandpa and Mom, but the little girl and the little boy each need a sweatshirt and sweatpants, and they would appreciate a money gift to Rayleigh's. So if we could have people call me, my phone number is 775-827-6827. I'll say that again, 775-827-6827, and let me know what you would like to contribute. I'd be very appreciative. And we need to have these gifts back to the center, wrapped up by this coming Saturday when we have our Christmas gifts for our drive-by for everybody. So please show up for that. And you can drop the gifts off at any time at the center. It'd be best to call first, make sure somebody's there at the time you can go. But so we have collected several gifts already, but we need just a few more. So thanks very much for your participation.
Shirley, I have a question. Since we're in a lockdown and people don't seem comfortable shopping, could they just donate money and we could put a little note to the family, because of the lockdown, here's money to buy a sweatshirt and sweatpants?
Yes, I understand that completely. Because of COVID and all that, everything's kind of different this year. So if you'd rather just contribute some money, just, what are we going to say? Just give a gift card for money and drop it off at the center. That would be fine too.
Like a cash card, correct? A Visa or whatever?
Right. for any amount.
I did that, and I'm just putting it in a card, a pretty Christmas card, and writing to them, here's money to buy whatever you need. So whoever gets a gift card, they could do that. Just put it, and say, this is for, the boy or the girl. That'd be a little more personal.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Put it inside a nice Christmas card. And it could be the cash card, or it could be the Rayleigh's gift card.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I understand it's really not too conducive for being out shopping this year, but I know I have done some. It's been okay, but it's up to you. It's to give any way you would like.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
And thank you both.
All right.
Let me move on. I recognize that the time here, so I'll go rather quickly. Tonight is the night for our Cozy Couch concert. This is the CSL's holiday Cozy Couch concert. 3 fantastic musicians will be playing, including local favorite Gary Lynn Floyd, and he'll be on at 5 o'clock. They're all on Facebook pages. Just check it out. Also coming up, as Shirley mentioned, our holiday drive-through event. That is next Saturday from noon to 1, and there will be a gift provided by our board and our practitioners, our ministers, and we encourage you to come by between noon and 1 p.m. The winter solstice is Monday of next week, so we have 8 days. Interfaith service is being presented by our friends at CSL Greater Philadelphia with Dr. Ken Gordon, a retired former spiritual director for CSL, and music by David Mahmoud, just at YouTube/CSL Philly. Thursday the 24th, that's already been mentioned, that we have our candlelight service. Will be online using the same internet connection as our regular Sunday service. So put that on your calendar and have your individual candles ready. On the 31st, the World Healing Day Peace Meditation will take place, led by our CSL Tahoe-Truckee practitioners, and that will be online also using the same link as the Monday and Tuesday morning meditations. So I encourage you to mark your calendars and set your alarms. I mentioned already.
Rick, actually, that's a different. There's a different link because we had to list it online. So we may have people from elsewhere. So there's a special one for that. So.
Oh, thanks. Well, we'll make sure that word gets out through our constant contact as well as on our slides next week. We have things going on 7 days a week at CSL Tahoe-Truckee. Sunday service, here you are. Monday and Tuesday, our practitioner-led meditations. On Wednesday, our Wednesday evening gathering this week will be focusing on the spiritual aspects of the winter solstice. As a descendant of Druids, I hope to provide a good discussion there. On Thursday, we have meditation as well as Tai Chi with Chris. Thank you so much, Chris, for putting that on each week. On Fridays, of course, Sue, thank you for putting on all of the things that you do. This is the 3rd Friday of the month, so Letting Go is the meeting. Course and Love will come back in January. And Ned returns to his original time of 10 a.m. on Saturday morning for A Course in Miracles. And with that, Reverend Pam, that's the end of our announcements. And I have the affirmation available when you're ready.
Well, we're going to do our affirmation first, and then our peace song, and then we'll open it up for hospitality. So if you would, we could get our affirmation back up. If you would repeat after me, unmuted, or with me, read with me. With meditation and contemplation, I prepare the way to discover divine truth, realizing that I live in a perfect universe I let go and let Spirit love me and all the world. And so it is.
Okay. I need to pause the recording here. Excuse me.